Prisoner Danny deliberately took off his shoes and quietly hid in a corner. When guard Mark came by for inspection, he didn't see Danny anywhere. Mark instantly sensed something was off and stepped inside to take a closer look, only to find Danny standing smugly in the corner, grinning mockingly at him. Mark, furious, slapped him across the face. But instead of getting angry, Danny smiled with satisfaction. He had just figured out a way to escape prison easily. The next day, when Mark came by again, Danny had vanished once more. Assuming Danny was hiding in the corner again, Mark walked in, only to find the cell completely empty. Then, as he casually looked up, he suddenly saw Danny clinging to the wall. Enraged, Mark started beating him with his baton, but Danny didn't fight back. Instead, he just smiled in an unsettling way. Determined to master his invisibility technique, Danny slowly extended his arms and kept adjusting his angles until even he couldn't see his own hands. He planned to use this to avoid being detected during room checks, with Mark unknowingly becoming his test subject. But this time, no matter how hard Mark searched, he couldn't find Danny. Danny was silently following right behind him, mimicking his every move. Mark started to panic. He could feel Danny's presence, but just couldn't see him. Suddenly, he noticed an extra shadow on the floor. He spun around and finally caught Danny, beating him again. Even bruised all over, Danny still wore a smug grin. This time, he'd drawn an eye on his palm and imagined himself as Mark, mimicking his perspective, movements, and thoughts. With this method, Danny's invisibility training quickly became highly effective. Inside that tiny cell, Danny had somehow managed to make himself completely untraceable. Mark was on the verge of a breakdown. He searched every inch of the room and found nothing, not even a shadow. While he was still trying to make sense of it, Danny ambushed him with a vicious beating.
이 새끼 이제 사람 마음대로 가지고 놀아!
That encounter completely shattered Mark. Danny had become like a ghost, untouchable and invisible. Ironically, just as Danny was ready to break out, his sentence was over and he was released. But his girlfriend, Anna, had already married a rich man and become someone else's wife. Still, Danny wasn't worried. With his invisibility skills, he could now enjoy the wealthy man's life for free. The three of them lived together, and for Danny and Anna, every moment was a thrilling, secret adventure.